And it was such a pleasure to meet her too. And when I see, I almost get jealous. There's a slight generational thing. Like I saw the three of them getting all decked out to go out to a concert the other night, and knowing like I just really kind of wanted to finish walking the dog and go to bed at 8 o'clock, but it was still light out. But you know what? I think that's what it's all about, especially for women, accepting where we are in life and enjoying it. And Miss Lynette, who has just blown me out of the water. Just for who she is, but also has an amazing story. Whatever you're comfortable with sharing, Lynette, who has been diagnosed with cancer. How old were you when you found out?
I was 52. That was in February. And
so this is new.
Yeah, this is February of this year. Went in for a hysterectomy, found out I had stage 2 ovarian cancer, and then started chemo. So I'm 3 in, and I have 3 more to go.
And where do they say, if you're comfortable talking about like your prognosis? Obviously you had a hysterectomy, they got rid of it all.
Yeah, I don't know right now. If you look on Google, which is not your friend when you're going through this,
Yeah,
I have a 5-year life expectancy. So that's hard. And usually within 2 years, if your cancer is going to come back, it'll come back within 2 years. But I'm going to try to, kick its ass and never have to worry about the C word ever again.
I just love it. I love it. And I remember the first time I met her, I didn't even know. I just thought she was like rocking a really cool haircut. And I was going to say like, get some earrings, like take the hat off because it's just gorgeous. And then I got to know a little bit the further that we went along. And I mean, what stood out for me the most is your determination. To just make the most of every single minute.
You have to.
But I did hear a little bit about a struggle to, just break down.
Yeah.
And I identify with that fear that you're never going to come back. If you allow yourself to do that and just give into it. I've been through things with my kids and other situations in life where it's like your worst fears coming true. But the upside of that is when that happens,
100%.
There's not much else that can scare you.
Yeah, exactly.
It really, really is. So obviously, like are you going through chemo right now?
I am.
You are.
I am.
You are.
I have 3 more sessions to go.
Wow. And you're surrounding yourself with awesome women. Hi, Miss
100%.
Amber.
Hey.
I'm so glad to get to know you. And we're all here. I deliberately, just you as a person, with or without cancer, I'm honored to have you in my contact list and to get to know you a little bit.
Very sweet.
Michelle, I gotta say, you have just introduced me to some very interesting people and situations. But we love her. We've loved her since day one. We love you, Sir William, if you ever see this one day. But that's a whole nother stream. Yes,
he is amazing.
And again, that shout out to Leland's Squirrel, who made some really valid and cool comments on the Eugenia Cooney live stream about anorexia, which I've struggled with myself in the past and didn't, I could identify it, but it wasn't textbook. Like most people with anorexia, they have that horrible fear of getting big and they don't see themselves realistically, like how unhealthy and sick they look. Bigger girls struggle with their weight, but I'll tell you, it's harder to be too thin, to be like 99 pounds at 5'8". And the thing is, I missed it because it wasn't textbook. I hated it. I hated the way that I looked. I wanted to gain weight. I knew it wasn't healthy. I had no energy, and a lot of it goes back to whatever your feeding habits were in childhood.
Yeah.
And mine were totally normal until a divorce. And then it came, a working mother and an adolescent sibling babysitting. And the truth of the matter is like nothing to eat in the home. Yeah. My mother worked in a Chinese restaurant and like the freaking cat got the leftovers before we did. So I don't know if that's when it's developed, but I know it's a generational thing. It's been passed on to my son, and I'm a firm believer. I'm a believer, period. I believe in the power of God. I believe in the power of the mind-body connection, which I think, honestly, you've tapped into. you've tapped into by trying to keep that positive attitude, and not to plug my business in any way, shape, or form in this situation. But we do have access to a line of supplements that you have to have a medical license to get. So, which my husband does, and that's how my journey back to health from a lot of like nothing as serious as cancer, but a lot of autoimmune stuff, and just not well-being for years, abusive, crazy relationships, and it started almost like a toddler will learn by coincidental learning. You know, they won't eat at home, but when they go to school, they'll start eating what the other kids eat. You know, to fit in. And I kind of did that when I met my husband. You know, the first year I spent basically in bed with him, texting, come on down to the pool, not interested. And then I just started taking the supplements he suggested. That alone isn't going to do it. The key that I found and that I wholly believe in is God's given plan for food and diet. You know, there isn't, I believe honestly, there's a plant that can both kill and cure you, make you sick and make you well. But if you don't have the right mindset, even that's not going to help. So it took all three combinations. Diet, I would say come first. Movement, activity. I had a tendency to have a very sedentary lifestyle, which you obviously don't. I see you out and about and kicking ass and crushing it, you know. And I'll tell you, there for me, there was a huge difference between 53 and 61. You know, I didn't even meet my husband until I was 55. I mean, and we were out at Pure, kind of getting a buzz on and getting crazy out here at the pool at midnight, making a ruckus. And now we're both very content with being like settled in for the night by 9. And we're trying to move out of that because, you know, I caught myself saying, like, all the best living is behind me. There's way more behind me than ahead of me. And that could be a lie. Because even if the years ahead of us are shortened, they could still be the best years of our life.
I feel that.
You inspire me. You know, like I said, when I listened to your story, like I felt it and heard it in my heart, my chest area, more so than my ears. So, Miss Leland Squirrels, I'm going to do a video and respond to, but I think this just took precedence over everything today because it just made my day. I've known Michelle first, and it's always just been such a pleasure. I was really good friends with the girl that lived in her apartment before she took it, and was almost afraid I would have that prejudice. Like, you're in her apartment. Nope, she owned it. And it's absolutely gorgeous, too. I love the way you decorated it.
I love my apartment.
And your roommate and the dog. I never would take you, honestly, no offense, to be a dog person.
Oh, I'm a total dog person.
Well, obviously, I want to say snickerdoodle. I know that's not right.
Golden Doodle.
Golden Doodle.
Yes.
And I remember the first time I walked by with my own dog and he jumped up on the door. It was like freaking Cujo. He scared the daylights out of me. And he's like really one of those big teddy bear dogs, just large in size.
She's
But
the best.
She is.
I even say, hi, it's okay, it's only me. And she sits right down now.
Yes.
She says, oh, okay. You guys can pass freely.
Yes.
But Lynette, like, no fakeness. I love you. I am so glad I got to know you.
Appreciate that.
And I would love to follow you in your story. And you have one of your own if you ever want to upload it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. And guys, as you know, I still suck at the editing and the thumbnails. I'm working on it. I have the beautiful one. I just haven't figured out like how to download it and upload it to you guys. But Leland Squirrels, I'm going to address you tonight. You had some great stuff to say about anorexia. You know, and that is a mental illness in and of itself. And it was good to learn there are actually 2 stages of it, 2 types of it. You can't just have it plain. And Eugenia Cooney's obviously in that, you know, type 2 thing where she looks at herself and doesn't see it. And you can see in all her videos, her content is, she has that cognitive dissonance, and she's just body checking throughout the whole thing and probably thinking it's really sad. But as the first video was about, like, let her be, you're not going to help her by making ugly comments, you know. And then we have somebody that's, you know, not necessarily ill with cancer, but deciding to live life no matter what's going on. And that's an inspiration to us all. And I, for one, appreciate you. And I look forward to getting to know you better. Thank you, doll.